Mama say my 3 pointer. Sometimes say do baby and knew how to maintain that 3 points now on second. So I want all the men and also all the women, married ones. Yes, those who are married. Mr. Obiara de ontenase. Now on funny phone, non friend Adam for onim there or go through a lot of problems in their relationship, especially how to keep their romance alive. Bebre out of form, bebre ayemre, bebre struggle, onye easy cry. We have Counselor Afia, who is seated in Starling Grace, looking very beautiful, to tell us, to teach us, to school us, to educate us, boom, on how we can spark our relationship by keeping our romance alive. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Oh, then.
Yanko pardon me.
And then they make you
make a fant.
No,
I am not. I am a champion.
Oh, the
yes, a little bit of a week crack.
A little bit of this, a little bit of
yes,
that, a little bit of that. I started by saying that many food baby I geometry 3 points. Why fans na, but baby points no what GBM. If only we see. It's like all the tricks are all gone out of the sweetness, you know, and the romance in every relationship. You think that are dropping at it. Today we want to find out how do we, you know, keep that fire burning in our relationships, in our romance. How do we keep it burning?
Thank you so much to your listeners or our listeners. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here. And yes, I'm happy that we are sharing this topic. You know, oftentimes, before the program started, you were talking about marriages, people being married for, 20, 50, and, sometimes the spark going off. Yes, it's true. I mean, everybody is complaining. Everybody is, complaining one way or the other. It could be financial, it could be marital issues, a lot of combined things. But how do we keep this, or why do we have to maintain even our relationship in the first place? Let me wind this question a little bit so that viewers can actually enjoy the topic very well. So we don't just go straight point by point.
Okay.
What worked for me will not work for you or her. Sorry, her or you or anybody. Everybody is different. One of the key things that I want us to understand is what causes people to actually drift.
Apart.
Yes, drift from, connecting, okay, romantically. One factors that we actually forget is stress, frustration. If I'm frustrated, if I'm stressed, if I'm going through a lot, how do I then give you romance in the first place? Okay. These things, we actually forget that romance, everybody wants to be romantic. We watch the telenovelas and everybody is glued to their seat. When we look at, the lovey-dovey things, everybody wants to be in that picture. But, hello, stress can contribute to you drifting from that. It's not as if nobody wants that lovey-dovey, nature. Stress. Another point is frustration. Okay, frustration can also make you drift from being, connected to your partner. I'm starting from that place because nobody is unromantic. True. Enye obiara na sebio tafrachi onko bibimu obia ko bibimu mo fa nche mi etwi na ya na ntimi mbu mu beni ye ana mi timi expressing it deep into mo fa nche mi. Ni amepesa mechire ni say before ayebe can say your friend is saying romance no how to keep it no unim ka brofo yes how to keep it no ebe boa ye say yebe hu eniema nti a etwetwe ye free or what is drifting us from that particular topic and amesha ase can say eto de bia ye frustration ye stress a ye kom no eno me can search say ebia a lot of us women, we say Ghanaian men, quote and unquote, move and check.
Not romantic.
Yeah, romantic.
Yeah, we hear it often. Yeah.
And you see, we can't just generalize it and say beme bia, and I say Ghanaian man bia, oh, yeah, romantic. and namanso bebre and I make us a stress na ye komono and as a frustration na ye komono and also to me contribute Emma Sebiota Frache obi entimi nye romantic
nti o si ye mami nka ni twi kakra o si obrai mu o haw ne kodan na bi stress and frustration say be bin koyie like normal koyie ma no eno etumi ema wadwene kura nko so say woni udofo be wewe
you breaking that could it be say be a yare be a sikasem
be a obaho because I think she's talking about
me can know from the beginning say it could be financial problems and sikasem nti no sometimes no untimi sorry nkeke say o me kunu ana me yere onye romantic I was say young counselors na there we don't just cut the roots from the top. Sorry, we don't cut the tree from the top. We start from the roots. We go into details. Ye pesi who say e dia na ama e bia kofi ama adwoa se bi ori actesa because obi wo ho a o aware mba na ninje. So what you say? Aware me ma worry for 19 years.
Hey, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Obi wo ho no ma worry 25, 30 but e bia na all counting years no na nya aware na nkasa na aware. Ebiana sebi ne edipa benkenti ba ne pese ye kire ne say romance de e wo niam a wo se wo so wo ye to spark up the romance no on a daily basis. Number 1 ye forgiveness. Se wontimi mfa bone ncha ebe ya wodin se bi ukunu efi adwuma ba anase wo yure efi adwuma ba and then you start no I was say first and foremost no you work on yourself. With frustration and I make kind from the beginning no forgiveness de bia fache and ten but before I would be no I was say who say the problem has to be talked about. I was say ultimately say now wo fi mo de nipa na yo because it's very hard say ukunu eye obibi eye oya and I say wo yiri eye obibi eye oya now sorry oh hey baby hey honey it's not going to work.
It's like you're faking it.
Exactly. And na me can telenovelas na ye hwe no eye ye mfe but say ye so ye betimi get into that groove. Forgiveness no dey ade baako. I was say you check your stress level. So when him say you are not even in the mood to talk to your partner, at the end na obeye. Oh, kweku, mommy just 10 minutes. Me person me winding down from work. Maybe me person me detoxing my mind. E bia normal bia me go through during the day. Na ya tena se ne yakasa. We need to start learning how to communicate prior to romance.
If you say communicating prior to romance, exactly what is that?
For example, ebia me fie adwuma ebe fie. I know say me kunu ana me yire or ye lovey-dovey touchy person. I know I'm very stressed from work. Now, the tendency say me fie adwuma stress ana me di adwuma stress ebe fie no 100%. So prior to communication the communication na obeye no ebia wa frɛ wo husband. You know say you don't want to affect him negatively. Into no started some lovely flirty talks, big kakra. Oh hey babes, hey and so when we no like start psyching him. That's the communication. So that by the time I will be do now said nyoma esise so. Another thing too we need to learn to do is to touch more. Me I am a hug pa. I could hug a man, I could hug anybody.
One would often so some baby like
Montayesa.
So
cuddling, right?
Cuddling.
Cuddling is another level.
What say most of the time no sadye e kenya yen. Obi wo ha woni ne tina ho a na adwin kra onimpo se ote ho. But the holding, the touching, sometimes you just don't want to talk. But sadye no nko no a Kenya nipa no. So what you say?
Like it creates a bond.
Exactly.
Yeah, like all right.
And yet the bond alone, but it's just to let the person know say me wo ho. A Kenya no. You create some kind of awareness say oh ebi a me wo ha. Because more times if we don't learn how to hold, how to connect in that manner na akwakoye to say ondomi oni me niagro. A lot of women they will tell you say me kunu ondomi. All because sometimes they are not touchy.
Some of the touchy we need be a peg, on the cheek, and I say
important. The kissing is very important. The flirting in so many ways.
Waka flirting. I need you to dwell there a little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
You see,
so on a daily basis, we can't always be romantic. We can't always, but to flirt with your partner on a daily basis, how do you define that and how to sustain that as well.
You
so
see,
to flirt with your go on.
You need to learn. Say also we check your mood constantly.
Okay.
Your mood play a lot of role. I na me can say more mobile TV so all the time no radio no more ya pa because the truth of the matter is that obi wo na that day no oh very bad news. But now wa position enemy ye no dey betina ho say hwiye nsi ye. Then so na bibi e koso won mo. Into the mood factor is very important. Like I said before no. Say one working on yourself. You cannot give what you don't have. You can never give what you don't have. If I want to connect with you and I'm person me dofo just say ye dia grow ye ma ye nijia or say me working on myself first. Or say me say what is the priority? Is it the marriage na me pe anase nije na me pe no? Adie na but I ben and adie na me pe say aware no ne fapem ana how do you say it?
Yeah, that's right.
To me enko. So that's why I say also we check your mood first and foremost. Yes. Because a lot of times no the reason why your marriage is intimate engine and as a romance intimate mbamu is purely because of our mood. Obi wo ha ni kunu di nsa be kind of cross say I'm not in the mood. I'm not ready. You know, all these things.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not in the mood.
Because
I'm not ready.
Most of the time, no, one will be ready, the other will not be.
Yes.
That is why it is very important. Say, shewan kasa. Ufie juma ba dia ode ba nye fie dia. It's like a lawyer. Me a lawyer. Me catch and say ya no found to court. Na fie dia no so most of the times we forget that we need to change spaces. Baby a ye woni bia or say change. Say me wo ejuma mu a I might be acting in a different way, but do fear priority. Eye wa worry first. Wa worry first. Into your mood ni dey it plays a lot of role. So wo boefu a untimi ma okunu anije. So wo re ho a untimi ma okunu anije. And also untimi ma oyiri anije. Into before wo bedu fie no, you want to work on yourself. What is the priority? Dear ni ubotaya na then ni go. Dear na ope wa wariyenim. Because you see, it takes two to tango. Awariye ne fapem na said awariye no success no. It doesn't depend on only the man or the woman. Yeah, it takes two to tango. Inti se wo pesa awariye ni jina no. Whatever you're doing contributes. Ni awo oba no so eye no ebe contribute. Inti se wo oba no de ebufu oba. How then do romance come in the picture? Yeah. Romance they ain't me mo unless say, mentally what the toxic. Akachi who say one kasano upese wo ye bibi ma ukunu and now yure energy.
So what you're saying is that it's a call for both partners to constantly check on their moods, to
Very
be in
important.
the right mood before they get into romance, right?
Very important. Otherwise it will be fake.
Because in Ghana, like my ready, me when you're ready, it's basically what's happening in our society.
In our lives, actually, in our daily lives.
So how does the two? So it means that each and every one constantly have to work on their minds to make sure that they in that space, right?
Right. And you see, another thing too is that I was say dear grow. We don't play. We think playing in marriage is just for children. But trust you me, that is my trick. I love to play. I mean, you can wear some bikini be na kotina na so nene cat and mouse, game may be diagro because you see, we always say that life is very short. So if life is short, you spend XYZ time in your marriage. If you are not happy, what will you be? Sad? Miserable, and I said be overboard. Into make sure say our real woman one kasa you make it a point to be happy.
A lot of people say when a woman wears a bikini and then wants to sit on it or play with it, that means she's calling for sex.
No.
But maybe she's not actually, calling for that. How then do we, as men, or probably a woman, or bad dreams is not probably about sex now? How do we go about that?
You see, romance is not all about sex.
Okay.
A lot of times, you are right. When you start going naked or playing in that manner, the mindset is say, "Bia, opesoninya empemua gro dabikra." You see, because I was a multimedia agromanica, I was say, and you're all about going bikinis or and grow baby or why it me di. What to me,
Yeah, yan kwati kakra. I grew up with so many generations. I came to meet grandmothers, mothers, aunties, uncles. One of the things that I realized sustained their marriages was when they eat together.
I was coming to that.
Omo didi bo no obi awia obi nam ni ade na agro a wo de mi hu so omo tuludu na oso we akrofo we wia me need those things or worry. Okay, so say fast forward the Z generation digitalized everything. So in this generation, how do we sustain that play? Waka say ukotena na so e obi bi e fe no double. Na bi a wo bo no na o chase ni ade. How do we incorporate we know we are in a digital world, but how do we bring that back?
You know, I was coming to that. I'm happy you've mentioned that. We cannot throw that away. Now, if we throw that away, what we have is just the phones or social media. What else do we have? Nothing. Today, it is even hard to stay together as couple to even eat. Because by the time you awake, one person is up, ready to go.
Yes.
Time to sit is even a problem. So you get to see them maybe once in a month going for dinner, and that is not enough. If we say that life is short, what do we do? And I said, dear, no man, yeah, constantly say every day in Rebecca. And you see, this or worry normal working, a boy yet to connect more. So worry ni honma, media na me to dancing. Medjumana ya na me ye no. I can't communicate to anybody. Means me no be and a juman home komo because I am private and very confidential. Intimidate me pass apa, met me on drum na masasa. That is a way to also help my moods and to stay balanced. But obi a said baby a woni worry, woni ludu. Suya ya ye bon komo. Communication no hu hia pa. Ebi ana ukunu ana wojire oni time po a woni ne betena se aka sebe oyaw, you know, the person is not even available. So betie o pain na wo kom. Make time to talk. Talking is healing. Talking, feeling loved.
It's a conversation is food for the soul.
Exactly. And you know, the more nipano enya time so beti sebe eyen kwasi asemo enyansa asemo e ma feel say at least obi do obi tie obi wo ho adaje sa no ma no so eboa ma you get connected more times. But you see, apart from the touching so no, it is important say ye de be ya said say on a daily basis no wo de say mo be pie ana mo be separate ya mo try say mo be hage.
Men often says you understand? They have some particular actor constantly on more year now as a show before near there. But you want to play, but I don't want to play. You understand? But constantly as they be who was a particular actor we are making man feel say like you know irritated. Let me use that word, irritated. How then do you deal with that one also?
You see, what makes you irritated is because of your moods. Your moods. If you have a score to settle, and I say, when you na mobota I say our any bejina, I don't know de debiana adeye wehi. It means say either you are not in the right frame of mind, and now say bibia touchima ewo ho. It takes two to tango and ye kind. It is a menkwa made the suggestions but debiana you are not involved, not the me ye we here. Not just a one kasana also go check ho. Cause what problem?
One of the things,
okay. Just to add to it, another thing too you need to also do as couple is be dynamic, change kakra. And yet they be one way, the back peg ne case ne dear. You can't run away from that. But be dynamic a little bit. Every week be you know, create something new and no enema.
Variety is the spice of life.
Yes, like very important.
So,
creativity new because the more new things you bring on the table, no, and money exciting. It's like every week there you're expecting something new, and like you yearn for the next thing that is coming. But I agree. So one way things no, a bit boring. But going back to what my sister said, no, in those days they were still doing the one way thing, and it wasn't boring for them. So it is the mindset that you attach to what you're doing.
Okay, so let me ask the question. You mentioned it and it brought it back to mind. One of the biggest complaints I hear, she doesn't make time for me. He doesn't make time for me. He doesn't have time. He's always out there. You know, I never get to see him. You know, that kind of thing. For me, I think if you talk to a lot of couples, they have that particular complaint. How do we make time for each other despite the pressure from work, family, demands from society and all of that?
Thank you. One thing I mentioned was prioritize. Meaning say you can go trip when to mean to me.
Say no one more near the kind
right. Prioritize. A lot of times no, we just don't prioritize. We feel that our work is most important. You hear schedule electricity. You hear utilities no normal. You hear schedule honey your number one priority. Obebe bisa say na wa ma eno anya wo number one priority a e dey na betu fees no bibia hu hia. But you see, give what belongs to Kaiser to Kaiser. Mpacho mi ndimi ga eno so you see, but you see the truth is that I was say hu so say sika no enye no nyina na be ma wani so age aware no so also utimi nya time ma no. For example, if you know you have a very busy schedule and I say adwuma na wo ye no emma neoma bi ho kwan a just also we sheda enya time ma no ma.
All right, ebusiafo afen mo be kan ho. This is the Max Morning Show. Ye ni counselor Afia open door counseling. Na ni kofa ban pa na ni di nkomo. Na ye di nkomo afa kwa ye be fa so e be ma anwiwiye ene ani gie aba okunu ene ne yire ntem nye se mpaso agronko a na se ne be ya boni fre bibi romance wo romance na kwa ehwirema etan kwatwetwe enwom eba which is the sex na wakasa bebre o se ahyase no wo a ye ho adwuma e wo se wo tinu wadwene no wo mood no betumi affect bibi and make sure say you work on yourself o ka se ye momodin a se deliberately ya ye be sheda e de normal bi asisi baabi a wo se edisi ya na adwene ye se adwuma ne hu hia na emom nipa nso so ehu hia every say nya adwuma no nko na de anigie ebeba oni ye di nkomo bebre afi no abeka en I'm sure you missed a bit but bebre o ho a ejiri so obeka enti maami Afia to aswe
yo and the question you were asking me was
how do we make time?
How do we make time?
You talk about priority.
Yes. The priority need the ehu hia because on say the way economy aye and I said the way the world na asesa no. So one shed that say wo be ye bibia wontimi nye kra. Nti o say ye shed that priority need the ehu hia. You have to make it a schedule. A lot of people when they come to my firm I always tell them say just say make time. Say once in a month po and twice in a month na mbeka so we nko ade ye mekunu da na me reda na mo de mumpie nko baabi say ye beach bio say ye ye friend say a brick gardens bi o de kone na mo na mo nu aduane say ye brodo kra ni say binsu kra mo nko tena ho na mo ni nko mo pie ko baabi
local picnic bi wa ho
oh sa kakra beach bi kakra bibie bi kakra
enye sika sem bebre ho na hu nyam ya ne adwene en say se ebe pia kwaji ani a ehia sika poduo bi se na wo ka wonya brodo wonya wonsuo wanya anu no de bia kra nka ho a woni ukurumu nkwatra se mu brodo
once the metramity I believe in simplicity.
It's spiritual.
You see I believe in simplicity and I always preach towards that. Now edu baby a comparison menim say na eka na wotwi mu
say odi ho tutu obi ho
odi ho tutu obi ho eno na ema yentimi enye content with whatever we have. And until na sabi odi brodo call a brick gardens kwa oferi because where do we oh hwe obi de ne chicken ni ebi o roast ne kebabs bi ntino
any banku ni
tilapia bi ntina say wanim na kre but the truth of the matter is be content with what you have. So when so nia mowo a emma wani mre bibiara ewo wo nchen. You see love is something for the two of you. I was say usua say sebio ewiase anase life is very short. Se ni pay menya ne ho adaje a de bi obekọ na mesu na esu no so entimi emfa ne mma.
Onipa mretia
papa
life is short.
Very very short. Until once the person is here adie na metimi ya ama no mame fa nche ne kakra mame no ne kakra mame nya ne ho adaje kakra. That's why I said in the beginning say bibia yen kakra and kakra because sebio wuntimi
moderation.
Exactly. Wuntimi time nipa forever and ever. Sebio watanfo kra edu baabi a utimi de che no. Nti se opese wodo kunu ana wodo wo yire a try to know say ochine bi no the person will not be here with you again.
Wow.
Nti no say opese o kiss no. But another thing too about this romance thing that we also forget nti e massa connection no entimi enye adwuma is because sometimes you hygiene.
Ah.
The hygiene. Emma. Sabio tafrachi.
Mami hygiene uni mitwi. Ahuni die.
Aha, bibisa.
Ahuni die.
Oh, and also intimate Emma, you know, that loving, touchy
Breaking it
feelings.
down kakra mami. Jo ewo
What's the name when you fra on pay gwar anaduna de no one wasem na worika no yes anya
Money member, you know.
ma on pay gwar when you fra on pay gwar you are not clean enough your oral hygiene is not
or
good
even the aura in the bedroom.
Me
bed sheet bed 3 weeks you've not washed it in your in your account
a lot of time, you know, your hygiene so to me prevent proper romance. Sabi, your instantifi ye ti emesi ye nase. Sabi, your oral health the crap. Upese ukuno wa TV, wa telenovela, adeni ya ofe. Send you also so ni mo, send you ye na ya ofe. But one kasani, you're not taking good care of yourself.
Your well-being, yeah.
You know, your oral, you know, baby, me mention parts, no. But I was so do huni. I was so would do huni. Nipe bia was so learning to do huni because
what can I learning to do huni?
I so learning to do huni. I so learning to do huni.
Thank you. That's a statement.
It's very important.
Very important because ye can mood as someone. I was say yes a normal bit trigger. Our triggers.
Yes.
Obi wo or ye neat freak. Obi wo no mo oti enka. Etimi mani mood nso esesa. You know, at the end of the day no, so wo pesa love it touchy, you know, feeling hugging no ma.
You
was say wo siesie wo ho. Sabe wo demo wo shoe mo enye se sabe wo fi adwuma ba na shoe na jigon
and socks I am here for about 3 weeks and all of that. Yes, America. Your friend has socks boxes that you've not washed for a very long time.
Now they are better them and then you're expecting your partner to hold you. Say baby amotu enimu no emoji ne normal all these things contribute into say wo pese odo and I said that thing happening. Check yourself first.
For those who are in long term, like, you know,
long distance
relationships that are like, you know, afar, Accra and the rest of friends in Tamale, how do they maintain their relationship and keep the romance, you know, at an all-time high level?
That's a topic, a big topic for another day. But I'll break it down a little bit.
We have to serve them.
When we say long distance relationship, nankasa very, very, very difficult. Trust you me, about 20 to 30% out of 100 survives. The rest are just doing something for the show of it. I'm telling you here and now. It is not their doing, say, a beer or a beer, ya transfer, or be call her, and answer, Ghana. It's not their doing, but a ding. Now, how do you maintain such a relationship? You need to learn to stay truthful to yourself. I was so mad about uni or partner no entem. Because it is only trust that builds that body we call love. Number 2, I was say okasa eye bebre. Kasa enkomodie no I was say eye bebre in the sense say monfre from ho. Muni agro, maybe I am more for the agro die because it kind of nyama like a soften nyama bebre because o partner no bia na woni me ekoso na brabo mo baby o wo no nti ya montan frefre oh na kwadu it say you know talk. You know, more come. That's the only way. Technology is so boy. So we tend to have the FaceTimes and, you know, the Zoom and all those things. But, trust you me, the only way you can maintain such a relationship is to know, say, you want to be positive towards it. The reason why I'm not going to give you step by step on how to maintain it is because obia yesronko. Oko kan say obi be feel say wanya ne say na etia na che say wa moa no
mami yembra no enti here one very important thing infidelity so obi afa ne kunu anasa ne yire achi hunsonsanso etumi ema romance ebu ewo relationship manner
100%. 100%. I mean, that's a trust and I make be a long distance relationship no. sebio tafrachi sa infidelity ne normal na say ema waba mu bu relationship nim but you see achia na emuye
esina bebo nyina
the most important I was you who say ye nyina ye yamfom so bebre. Yes, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Ye nyina ye bone for but ebe boa se odi beche. And how do you also forgive? Ubetimi dia check by going to look for a counselor. Ebi ana wankasa no wabamu to the point a woni hwe a odebe boa no. Inti ko ne ko hwehwe counselor bi.
Talking about counselor, yeah, Brenna, so can you imagine? We're having a beautiful conversation and our time is up. So obi etie obi hwe wa no pay na bamu abu opese one kasa kwan no be fa so ahia.
You open door counseling services was painters behind the Glory Oil filling station. You will be beautiful. I mean, bohu de ruby because person wa have brand baby hu. Now your number 027
027
444
444
1544 027 444 1544 Entino ofraya nyamane de ye bebre enya ha ne ye beka ni nyina so that we can have time to talk.
All right, emrenity emsenka ye be ma na bobo so ba ye bre na nya so nti fa number no na frɛ no na kɔ na so ye na obebua opi mi sha asem ka se mo am Facebook de mo hunu ni a oye abusuafo mo meka me ho ani emphasize da PSA pa ema counselor Afia and oni ya kasa mi ama fa me de o kasa na mpese me kasa be because na mi soki sa counselor Afia da CP.
All right, thank you for coming. We hope to see you again because as you said the topic is broad.